A very good morning to all of you. Welcome to your English 2 class. We will begin with a new poem today, that is After Blenheim by Robert Sade. This is an anti-war poem written by the English Romantic Poet Laureate Robert Sade. This is set in the year 1704 at the battlefield of Blenheim. We will see here a couple of innocent children are asking their grandfather a question while they were playing in the field, as they found something rolling over there. They took that and immediately came to their grandfather asking that what is this? Okay, and to this their grandfather replied, this is nothing but a skull, and I also found many a skulls here and there while ploughing. So this is quite common. This happened as a result of a battlefield. But after saying these things, he kept on saying this was a great victory, which shows the human callousness and civilian casualties against the horror of war. They are ignorant people. They do not know why this war was, why was that war take place, and what was the purpose. Was there anything creative? Was that war worthy enough to take place? What are the effect of the war? They are not bothered. They are bothered about the great victory at the end of the war, which made his grandchildren to question in wonder. This was a wicked sight. Why is it? Why is it so? I mean, really, is that worth for? But their grandfather remained saying the same phrase rather. It was a famous victory, and the battlefields, after a successful battle, the things should be like that. So the dead body, the skull, this is quite a common sight which you will get to see after every battlefield. This should be the sight at least, because after that someone will definitely win the battlefield, and who will grab the praise of others, the appreciation of others, but no one will concentrate on the fact that why is this so? Really, is that worth for? It is quite a futile affair with a message of destruction, nothing but this. But people are very much ignorant, which is represented by the character Old Caspar and his grandchildren Wilhelmine and Petukin. They were the innocent mouthpiece of the poet, putting on the question in front of the reader, like, why did a war take place? What are the purposes? Okay, even if it causes so much destruction, the end of lives and the slaying of different things, was it worth for? So we will begin with this note, this poem. This was written by Robert Sade, who was born in the year 1774. He was the son of a linen draper of a respectable Somerset family. While he was schooling in Westminster, he actually wrote a composition against flogging, as he was expelled from his school. Later on, he went to Balliol, a college in Oxford, where he came acquainted with Coleridge. He went to live in Spain and Portugal, where he got to learn many languages, which was quite beneficial for him. There he, in 1808, he translated the Chronicle of Cid, which made him quite popular. It is said that Sade's works are more of literary industry type than of literary creation, but he was made a poet laureate in the year 1813 for his contribution. Now we will begin with the poem. This consists in page number 17. All of you are asked to open your book. Those who don't have, they can find this available in the study material section. Okay. So open this and let us begin. It was a summer evening. Old Caspar's work was done, and he before his cottage door was sitting in the sun, and by him, spotted on the green, his little grandchild Wilhelmine. So this is written in a ballad form, which is even if it is a poem, it tells a story. Okay, it tells a narrative story. After reading this poem, we will get to know the story at a battlefield, that is Blenheim's. Okay, so and it actually consists of the rhyming scheme of A, B, C, B and D, D. As you can see, it was a summer evening. A, the old Caspar's work was done. B, and he before his cottage door, C, was sitting in the sun. Sun and done, that is same, that is why A, B, C, B. And by him, spotted on the green, his little grandchild Wilhelmine. Both are D, D. Okay, so let us begin. In the first stanza, it sets the tone and atmosphere of narration and reflection. It was a summer evening and old Caspar's work was done. He was standing at the door. He was an elderly farmer. Okay, so and before his cottage door, he was sitting in the sun. He was sitting in the sun before his cottage door, and made him spotted on green, his little grandchild Wilhelmine. So while playing, his granddaughter Wilhelmine found something while they were spotting in the field. Not found here. Now we will see here Wilhelmine, his granddaughter, is spotted. Spotted means she is playing in the field. So the scenario is what? Old Caspar was standing at his cottage door. He was an elderly farmer, and his work is done. And he before his cottage door was sitting in the sun. So we have seen he is sitting in front of his cottage door in the sun, and by him spotted on the green. So before his cottage door, his granddaughter, little grandchild Wilhelmine, little granddaughter Wilhelmine is playing in the green in the field. Next stanza. She saw her brother Peterkin roll something large and round. So she has seen her brother Peterkin has been rolling something round, which he beside the rivulet in playing there had found. Beside the rivulet is a stream. So while playing beside the river or a stream, he found that rolling thing. He came to ask what he had found that was so large and smooth and round. He wanted to find out what it was. He came to his grandfather. It was how it was? It was so large, smooth and round. Old Caspar, now third stanza. Old Caspar took it from the boy who stood expectant by. Caspar just took that rolling round thing from that boy, snatched rather. From whom? From his child Peterkin. Okay. So he just snatched that, who stood expectant by. Expectant means, who is expecting a reply. The son, his grandson, was clueless. He was expecting a reply very badly. But what he received, someone just his grandfather just took or snatched the thing from his hand about which he was inquiring, okay, and said nothing. And then the old man shook his head and with a natural sigh. So as if something is very natural that happened, with a natural sigh, the man just nodded his head. "'Tis some poor fellow's skull," said he, "who fell in the great victory." So he just said it was the skull of some poor man who was killed in the war. Okay. Next, "I find them in the garden, for there's many hereabout, and often I go to plough, the ploughshare turns them out." Now he goes on saying, who? The farmer, Caspar. "I find them in the garden. I often found them." It's quite common. See how casuality he is showing towards his grandchildren. He said that this is, if just try to imagine the situation, while playing in the field, if someone finds a skull, how will he or she react? Definitely it was a shocking sight, right? But when he asked his grandfather, he just narrated the story in a very natural tone, as if this was quite common. He used to find that in the field while he was ploughing. "And often I go to plough," often he went on ploughing, "the ploughshare turns them out." Ploughshare means the blade of the plough, while hitting the mud or the soil with the blade of the plough, it just comes out. "For many thousand men," said he, "were slain in the great victory." Underline great victory. See these two lines. This is quite ironical. He said first, there are too many people who were slain in the battlefield, in the war, but it was a great victory. Can you able to understand? Even if it took the lives of many men, at the end it was called a great victory. It is a refrain, what we will come to know towards the end. Now tell us what it was about. Now you can see alliteration. Tell, tease, about. Now tell us what it all about. "Young Peterkin," he cries. Now tell us what it was about. Young Peterkin was asking to his grandfather, tell us what it was about. And little Wilhelmine looks up with wonder-wetting eyes. She wants to be answered with a lot of answers. And she, with her wonder-wetting eyes, she was just looking or gazing at her grandfather, waiting for a great and satisfying reply. "Now tell us all about the war, what they fought each other for." So now she actually was asking the question that should be asked by all the other human beings, that is expected. She was asking what was the purpose the war took place for. Really? "It was the English," Caspar cried, "who put the French to rout. But what they fought each other for, I could not well make out. But everybody said," quoth he, "that it was a great victory." So it was English, Caspar cried. Caspar is saying this with a loud tone. Who put the French to rout? Who actually defeated the French. But what they fought each other for, I couldn't well make out. But I actually do not know well why they fought against each other for. See, this is the common picture of ours. We all know, like, a war brings nothing but destruction. But towards the end, we keep on saying about who wins, who loses, not the destruction that took place due to that. Did we ever ask what was the purpose which was questioned by these innocent children in the poem? But we are here like old Casper, who is saying, I don't know. I do not know what was the purpose. I know only one thing. It was a great victory. My father lived at Blenheim then. Yon little stream hard by. Now he is saying about his previous days, his old days. My father lived at Blenheim then. His father lived at Blenheim then. Yon little stream hard by. Yon means beyond the stream. They burnt his dwelling to the ground, and he was forced to fly. The soldiers put their house on fire, and they were compelled to flee from there. So with his wife and child he fled, nor had he where to rest his head. So it was a terrible sight. He does not flee only himself, but he took his wife and his child. But he had no place to rest his head, means to live in. So that was a shocking and terrible and a horrible side of the war. Okay, that happened to him as well, while his father suffered a lot along with his wife and his child. He is keeping the reference here. With fire and sword the country round was wasted far and wide. It was reported that it was a shocking sight at the battlefield. Many a childing mother then and newborn baby died. When many childing mother, many pregnant mother with their newborn baby died. But things like that must be. But he ironically stated here, the things should take place in a battlefield like that, right? Nor at every famous victory which causes a great victory like this. So we can see how ignorant he is, which is making an ironical statement by saying that it should be the sight like that. Okay, because childing mother, they got died, some newborn babies also died. Okay, it was a horrible sight. It was very heartfelt one. But what to do? Because we are going to see towards the end there was a great victory that took place. So we will be satisfied, and this were the this were the things that should be like that, as we all are very accustomed to see such, which causes a great victory, should have something in it to exhibit its great victory to the audience. So the sight was supposed to be like that, and it was so. So there was completely normalcy there. They say it was a shocking sight after the field was won. They always saying that it was a really terrible, shocking sight after the field was won. For many thousand bodies here lay rotting in the sun. So after the war, what was the scenario? Dead bodies are laying rotting under the sun. But things like that, must be after a great victory. Since it was a great victory, it should be like that. It is supposed to be like that. And we all are okay with the fact. Great praise the Duke of Marlborough own, and our good Prince Huygens. Now he says, great praise was achieved by the Duke of Marlborough. Who was Duke of Marlborough? Was an English general, a commander of British force in the War of Spanish Succession. And our good Prince Eugene was an Australian general who actually was born in France. With Marlborough, he defeated the French people. So he was accompanied with the adjective good, and Duke of Marlborough was praised highly. Why it was a very wicked thing, said little Wilhelmine. Now she is saying, I mean, why? I cannot understand. You were saying he was praised, he was good, and this thing happened. It was a great victory. But you cannot understand, grandfather. It was a wicked thing. It should not be like that. Nay, nay, my little girl, quoth he. It was a great victory. He is repeating the same phrase. No, 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 my little grandchild. It is like that. Since we are accustomed to this years and years ago. So, we all have to be just okay, and I am also very much okay with the fact. But towards the end of the war, we know it was a great victory on the side of the English. Isn't it great? See, such ironical tone is being represented here. He is just being very casual towards the ill effect of war. But he goes on uttering the same speech. It was a great victory. This shows the common picture of the people today. We just goes on appreciating thing that has no value, that has no worth, leaving the actual fact like it causes this much destruction. We did not want it to be happen. Why does this happen? We are more concerned about that fact, but we are not. We are just like stupid people, like ignorant people are saying, yes, whatever had happened, that actually was what actually had happened, that was highly desired to be successful there. So towards the end, we own the victory. So the rest part we are okay with. And everybody praised the Duke, who this great flight did win. So everybody was praising the Duke, who actually won the fight there. But what good came of it at last? Quoth little Peterkin. Now you tell me, grandfather, what good did we achieve after this war? After this war ends, it is his innocence that is compelling him to question. Because with experience, we all will grow up one day, and even if we want to ask many things, the maturity, the experience will bar us not to say such. But it is the innocence of Peterkin and Wilhelmine that is compelling them to put forth such a valuable question that was an eye-opener for all of us. It brings no good, grandfather. What was the purpose? Why, that I cannot tell, said he, but it was a famous victory. Again, yes, he said, I don't know why does this take place, but I only know, yes, it causes a great victory. Now it is refrain. A refrain is a phrase, verse or group of verses repeated at intervals throughout the poem, especially at the end of the stanzas. In the poem, after Blenheim, the poet uses the phrase great victory or famous victory almost after each stanzas, with a little bit difference, but whatever he wants to mean is very evident. It is called refrain, the repetition of the same phrase towards the end of basically the end of the stanzas. So this is the poem. Yes, it is quite easy to understand, but it will tell us, it will actually show the cruel reality of the world in front of us. You all should question yourselves. It is not about war. It is about the present situation nowadays, how we all are reacting to that. Are we smart enough? Are we wise enough to react in a proper way, putting forth our wisdom, putting forth our critical judgment? Or we are like the ignorant common people who will just keep on saying the same phrase that has been uttered by many without knowing or without analyzing the actual fact and the actual good that is doing to us. So this is quite a critical question to all of you. While just reading this poem, you all should contemplate on this. After Blenheim, it has a scathing criticism on the horror of war. It shows that international diplomacy and war are matters which are cut off from the lives of common men. So our lives are cut off, but we are ignorant still. In an outburst of praise for the heroes who won the war, old Caspar reveals the typical inability and ordinary citizen to grasp the reason why the war took place. Okay, so while reading this, you just know the background well, and then you just go on reading this. There is no such critical or very uneasy word is found here. It's very easy. You will get to know very soon. So just do read the poem with its symbolism, but I will ask all of you to read with your critical analysis, with your wisdom, not to read like an ignorant student or ignorant future of the society. Okay, so in the next class, did I say about the background? After Blenheim is an anti-war poem that centers on the most famous battle in the War of Spanish Succession. Blenheim is the English name for German village Blindheim, situated on the left bank of Danube River in Bavaria in southern Germany. Okay, so read this poem. In the next class, I will be extracting the themes and critical comment on this poem in a brief manner. And if you have any difficulty, please let me know through your emails or comment. So have a happy reading. Take care of yourself. Have a good day ahead.